terrifying name: the Roman Empire. From the scorching deserts of Egypt to the rain-soaked hills of Britain, the Roman legions were an unstoppable war machine. They did not just fight, they conquered, crushed, and civilized with an iron fist. Every single soldier was a master of steel, trained to move in perfect synchronization, shielded by heavy armor, and guided by centuries of ruthless military tactics. Under the glorious rule of Emperor Augustus, Rome believed it was chosen by the gods to rule the entire earth forever. The empire was eternal, its power was absolute, and its soldiers were considered completely invincible by both friends and foes. But as the legions marched further north to expand their massive borders, they reached a natural barrier that made even the bravest centurions hesitate: the Rhine River. Beyond this cold, rushing water lay the mysterious land of Germania. It was not a land of grand stone cities, paved roads, or organized governments. It was a terrifying, untamed wilderness, a dark world covered by endless, ancient forests, dangerous swamps, and a thick, permanent fog that swallowed the sunlight. The people who lived there were not citizens. They were fierce, independent tribes who valued freedom more than life itself. Rome looked at this dark land and saw a territory waiting to be chained. They crossed the Rhine, confident that the Germanic tribes would soon bow to Roman steel, just like everyone else. They had no idea that they were marching directly into a geographic labyrinth specifically designed for their execution. To bring Germania under Roman law, taxes, and administration, Emperor Augustus sent a man named Publius Quinctilius Varus. Varus was a ruthless governor famous for his brutal rule and harsh taxation in Syria. He treated the proud Germanic warriors not as dangerous enemies, but as already defeated subjects, demanding heavy gold and executing anyone who dared to resist his commands. Varus was incredibly arrogant. He believed that the mere presence of his three elite legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, was more than enough to keep the peace. He saw the local tribes as simple barbarians, completely incapable of organization, unity, or military strategy. But Varus's fatal flaw was his blind, unquestioning trust in a young Germanic prince named Arminius. Arminius was a noble of the Cherusci tribe, but he had been taken to Rome as a hostage when he was just a child. He was raised in the absolute heart of the empire, educated in the finest Roman schools, and trained thoroughly in Roman military tactics. He rose quickly through the ranks, became a legal Roman citizen, and was even elevated to the prestigious status of a knight. To Varus, Arminius was a loyal ally, a Roman officer in blood and spirit. But underneath the shining Roman armor, a dark fire of rebellion was burning. Arminius had never forgotten his true people or his homeland. He watched Varus humiliate his ancestors, and he secretly began to plot the ultimate betrayal. Arminius knew he could never defeat the Roman legions in an open battlefield. Their discipline and shield wall formations were too strong. To destroy them, he had to use his deep knowledge of Roman tactics against them. He had to lure them to a place where their discipline meant absolutely nothing. In the autumn of September, Anno Domini 9, Arminius set his deadly trap into motion. He fabricated clever reports of a minor rebellion deep within the northern territories, whispering into Varus's ear that an immediate, overwhelming show of force would crush the uprising before it could spread. Varus, blinded by his own pride and eager for a quick military victory, swallowed the bait in completely. He ordered all 3 of his legions, along with thousands of civilian camp followers, women, and children, to march immediately. Arminius offered to guide them through a shortcut, a narrow path cutting through the dense, uncharted depths of the Teutoburg Forest. As the massive column of 20,000 Roman soldiers entered the forest, nature itself seemed to join the rebellion. A violent, relentless storm broke out. Heavy rain transformed the narrow forest floor into a swamp of thick, treacherous mud. The Roman soldiers, weighed down by 60 pounds of heavy iron armor and massive shields, began to slip, fall, and lose their footing. The dense trees and narrow pathways forced the army to abandon their perfect square formations. The column became stretched out, forming a thin, vulnerable line over 9 miles long, completely scattered among the ancient trees. Suddenly, through the howling wind and crashing thunder, a terrifying sound echoed across the valleys. The deep booming roar of Germanic war horns. From the high forested hills, thousands of fierce warriors emerged from the fog. They did not march in lines. They charged with raw, wild fury, throwing heavy spears and swinging massive battle axes. The trap was sprung. The organized Roman legions were completely blind, caught in a muddy labyrinth where they could not see the enemy, could not form a defensive shield wall, and could not retreat. The massacre lasted for 3 agonizing days and nights. The Romans fought bravely, attempting to build defensive camps, but the rain never stopped, and the Germanic attacks grew more vicious with every passing hour. Arminius's men knew every tree, every swamp, and every path. They hunted the scattered legionaries like animals in a cage. Seeing that all hope was lost and facing the humiliation of capture, Governor Varus took his own sword and committed suicide, falling upon his blade in the bloody mud. Most of his high-ranking officers followed his example, leaving the remaining soldiers leaderless and terrified. By the end of the 3rd day, the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions were completely erased from human existence. 20,000 of Rome's finest soldiers lay dead, their bones left to rot under the dark canopy of the forest. When the tragic news finally reached the grand palaces of Rome, the empire was struck by an unprecedented wave of shock and terror. Emperor Augustus, now an old man, was completely devastated by the loss. History records that for months he refused to cut his hair or shave his beard. He would wander through the marble corridors of his palace in the dead of night, completely consumed by grief and madness, banging his head against the stone walls and screaming out into the darkness, "Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions." The defeat at Teutoburg Forest changed the course of world history forever. Rome never attempted to conquer Germania again. The Rhine River became the permanent, uncrossable boundary of the empire. The wet, mossy soil of Teutoburg became the eternal graveyard of Roman pride, a haunting reminder that even the mightiest war machines on earth can be bled, broken, and buried by those who fight for their freedom.